NFL on CBS. Tony Romo stopping by as he does each and every week here on HQ. Tony, these are the moments and the plays that define players' names. Bo Nix in this moment was spectacular. What did you make of his fourth quarter?
It was a great fourth quarter. I think this was one of those games that's rare in the regular season where you felt the pressure, you felt the moment, and you know, Denver's been doing it all year, but now it's against Kansas City, the team who's owned this division consistently. And if you really want to make people believe and you really think you're that good, then you'll do the same thing. You're at home in an incredibly tough environment for the Chiefs, but Mahomes has been in a lot of tough environments, has shown up. And to me, just that throw by Bo Nix on second down to Franklin, that epitomizes their season in a nutshell. That was big time. And he has shown up over and over again in the fourth quarter. And there has not been a bigger one than this one this year. They grabbed a hold of this division tonight.
Yeah, their fifth win this season when trailing at the 2-minute mark. Unbelievable stuff and a resolve from Bo Nix and this Denver Broncos team. I think the illusion I've used in the past, Tony, is I will be the violinist on the Chiefs' Titanic. The water's starting to get cold. Maybe not for playoff hopes, but certainly for that division. When you look at the road ahead now, does focus shift to what it might look like on the road through a wild card?
It definitely does. I think the biggest thing you see really quickly is just there's no guarantee they make the playoffs, and that's crazy to think about. Jacksonville winning today was concerning because now it was okay if Kansas City won this game today. Not only does Denver come back a game, but the Chargers lost to Jacksonville. So then you're like, okay, they picked up a game on both teams, and they also still end up playing the Chargers. So you're like, okay, that's not that concerning fully, and with Denver, the whole situation. But now that they lost, they're chasing Jacksonville. The division is most likely gone, and if they get that, then things change dramatically. But Jacksonville beat them head-to-head, so now they're in this position to where you're a full 2 games behind them. So you don't have much room for error, and it's rare for the Chiefs not to have much room for error in November. I mean, this next game against Indy becomes huge, to say the least.
2 games back of 7, as you said, a 9-year division streak squarely in jeopardy, and the Indianapolis Colts straight ahead. That vaunted rushing attack is what they look at next in Kansas City. The stat, and so many of them, point to a different Kansas City team this year, but 0-5 in one-score games this season, Tony. What does that tell you about this group that had won 17 consecutive prior to?
I think they've been incredible in the past because it's been a complete team effort. Of course, we know Mahomes is incredible. He does as good a job as anybody is getting his team out of trouble and figuring out ways to just win the game. And, you know, he's just always been that guy. But right now, he may not have all the things working perfectly around him. And this is what happens to championship teams. You just can't be that good for 10, 12 years. I mean, it's crazy. The Patriots had to restart. They went through the same phase and then re-changed the team with a bunch of new guys. Gronk wasn't there for the beginning era. Then that whole era comes on. And so I'm not saying we're seeing a changing of the guards. I'm just saying it's a lot tougher right now. They've played so many more games than other teams. They've been in so many pressure-packed situations. I think they brought it tonight. It was just Denver's really good at home, and they're a really good football team. And expect to see Kansas City at their best the next few weeks, though.
Yeah, plenty still to sort, but this one had a playoff feel a mile high. Nobody does it like Tony, Jim, and Tracy. Thank you, Tony.
100%. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our team with the NFL on CBS bringing you another classic, this one with ripple effects across that division and in the conference. 5-5 with November waning. Kansas City now taking on teams like Jacksonville and others in that AFC wildcard picture. The road ahead for KC going to require their very best. The conversation continues from Denver. When we return, our guys weigh in on what went wrong for Kansas City and what continues to be right in Denver. Back with the fellas, these two will meet once again on Christmas night, so some time to digest what we saw between now and then. JJ, for those waiting to open their hearts to the Denver Broncos, is this the type of win that says, hey, Kansas City didn't play a bad football game today, they just got beat by a better team?
Yeah, no, look, here's the thing about the Denver Broncos, that we live in this fantasy football world where you want to see the quarterback throw the football over the yard. We live in an NFL that has really continued to build itself upon the 25 to 30-year-old young quarterback face of the NFL. What you get with the Denver Broncos is old school football. You get a team that is led by their defense. Yes, they have Sean Payton, who made his name on the offensive side of the football, no doubt. And he had Drew Brees for forever, and so we all want Bo Nix to be Drew Brees. Drew Brees, he is not. But when you need him to be Drew Brees in the fourth quarter to get you down into field goal range, more times than not this season, we have seen him do it. This Denver Broncos team is all about the defense. It is all about Vance Joseph, former head coach of the Broncos, who was able to swallow his pride, come back to Denver as the defensive coordinator, and be just one of the best in the world at his job, as we have known him to be. You know, all these openings happen and people talk about who should be the head coach somewhere. Why don't you want the guy who for consecutive years has led the Denver Broncos to a top 3 defense, who this year, in games that they have no business being in because the offense has been terrible for 3.5 quarters, the Denver Broncos are in those games holding guys like Jalen Hurts and like Patrick Mahomes to pedestrian days. Credit all to the Denver Broncos, but certainly credit to this defense.
The defense is the reason why this team is who they are. Because Bo Nix is not playing like rookie year Bo Nix so far. The entire offense in terms of the splash plays, they're not delivering like they did in 2024, but they're not missing the beat because of their defense. And oh, by the way, their defense has been dominant without Pat Surtain Jr.
Defensive player of the year
from a year ago. So when you talk about the depth they have, it's been felt. When you talk about the playmaking ability they have on the defensive side, it's been felt, and they've been doing that without their best defensive player also. So Vance Joseph has done a phenomenal job, and these are the games that we need to get accustomed to seeing with the Denver Broncos, winning in an ugly fashion, and they're okay in doing so. The only concern I have with the Denver guys, today they won the ball game, the running game, without J.K. Dobbins.
That's a good point.
They got to find a way to get R.J. Harvey going or get someone going that can kind of not necessarily fill the shoes.
59 yards as a team.
As a team.
It helps when you have a team that ran for 62 on the other side of the matchup, but that's not going to be the case coming down the stretch.
Yeah, and J.K. has really, he was a bright spot for them, providing a sense of balance, even when the passing game wasn't there. So life without J.K. is going to be something they have to find a way to finagle to get the most out of. But today, their defense did what they're supposed to do, and they did that against Pat Mahomes. You know what I mean? So they can win a championship with this defense.
I know a good deal of the advanced metrics do point towards a quarterback who's not operating at an elite level by any means. Not a Drew Brees level, as you alluded to, but 295, the throw he makes at the end of the game, timely football from Bo Nix once again. I want to talk about the nature of these wins, Pat, because it's 5 comeback wins, and they've all come in the last 7 games. That doesn't scream sustainability. How do you like the way they're going about business? You take a win over the Chiefs and the Eagles any way you can get it, but Giants and Jets, maybe that gives you a moment of pause?
No, not really, because at the end of the day, a win is a win. And he was able to still win in that fashion against quality teams, like the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, just had a great comeback against, they was down 19 in the fourth quarter. The Giants came back against the Giants in the fourth quarter. So they have, I believe it is sustainable because they have played good teams and did it against those good teams. Yes, they put themselves in a hole against, you know, teams where they should not have been in a hole, but they still found.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom Report? It's time for a raw, unfiltered reaction to a tough night for our Kansas City Chiefs, and a wake-up call that this season is far from done, but the margin for error is razor thin. So let's dive into what happened versus the Denver Broncos, what it means, and how the Chiefs respond. The game. Kansas City came into Denver in Week 11 needing a win more than the Broncos did. The AFC West implications were enormous. A loss would hurt us far more than it would hurt Denver. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. Broncos 22, Chiefs 19. What went wrong? First, let's be honest. This wasn't a blowout, but it was a defeat by choice as much as by execution. There were multiple moments where Kansas City could have seized control and didn't. The passing game never found consistent rhythm. Early, the Chiefs' offense opened with 2 deep throws, one overthrown, another incomplete. The interception in the third quarter changed everything. A red zone opportunity that could have put us ahead turned into momentum for Denver. Discipline, or the lack thereof, killed us. 10 penalties for 69 yards, multiple 3-and-outs in crucial moments. These aren't just inconveniences, they're self-inflicted wounds when the margin is 3 points. Special teams and situational execution failed us. A blocked extra point, Denver driving late in the game through third down after third down while we couldn't convert. The defense, which hung tough for 2 quarters, collapsed in the final stretch. Denver steadily carved out the game-winning drive that ultimately sealed the deal. What it means for the Chiefs. Coming out of this when the implications are stark. The Chiefs dropped to 5-5. That alone is something of an inflection point for a franchise used to being in control. The Broncos extended their lead in the division and now hold serious momentum, heading into this with 8 straight wins and controlling the AFC West. For Kansas City, the margin for error from here is virtually 0. Every game becomes like a playoff game. But here's the good part. The culture, the leadership, the players, they have shown resilience in the past. This loss doesn't define the season, but how the team responds will. This is a reality check. Dominance isn't given, it's earned. And when mistakes pile up and execution falters, even the best teams can slip. Now, for a moment of perspective and belief, because despite all the negatives, there are reasons to keep faith. The core of this team, yes, Patrick Mahomes, yes, Travis Kelce, yes, the defense and coaching, still exist. The margin for greatness still exists. Coach Andy Reid has been through these kinds of games, these kinds of seasons. The difference now is response. A setback can galvanize a team. A loss like this can be sting, but also a wake-up call. We've got to clean it up, fix it, win the next one. The schedule still gives opportunities. The playoff path still exists if we lock in, execute, and eliminate the self-inflicted issues. So here's my call to the kingdom. Yes, this one hurts, but we are not done, not by a long shot. The Kansas City Chiefs will use this as a lesson. We'll fight, we'll respond, we'll show why the kingdom doesn't bow easily. Now I want you to weigh in. Chiefs Kingdom, what do you think happened? Was it discipline, execution, coaching? What must change from here? Drop your thoughts below, hit like, and if you haven't yet, subscribe and ring the bell because we're going to be tracking the next chapter of this season together.